The psychology of men after a breakup when love has faded. After a breakup, just like women, men also fall into two categories: those who are no longer in love and those who still have feelings. The emotional landscape for a man who still loves is often deeply complex and requires extensive analysis, but that's a topic for another time. This text focuses on the mindset of a man who has already fallen out of love by the time the relationship ends. In such cases, there are two types of men. The first type is the genuine bad boy, those who approach relationships purely for the thrill of conquest. Once they have won a woman's affection and perhaps had a few sexual encounters, they quickly lose interest and leave. For these men, breakups carry no emotional weight. The end of a relationship is treated casually, and they often move on immediately. Some even engage in competition with friends to see how quickly they can get a woman into bed, without any intention of building a genuine emotional connection. For women who have been with such men, the pain isn't always rooted in the time or effort invested. Often, the regret stems from the fact that the relationship ended before it truly began, before the emotions had a chance to develop into something meaningful. This sense of abrupt closure leaves behind emotional residue, questions, and confusion. In these cases, women might find themselves haunted not by what was lost, but by what never had the chance to grow. The second category includes men who entered the relationship with unclear intentions or momentary desire. They may not have known what kind of partner they were truly seeking. As a result, the relationship may have progressed too quickly, and emotional disconnection eventually followed. These men may have been kind, present, and emotionally engaged at some point, but once their feelings faded, they found it difficult to express the truth or walk away. For these men, the first emotional stage post-breakup is often a sense of relief. Even if they were kind and respectful during the relationship, many struggled internally with the realization that they no longer loved their partner. Yet, out of guilt or a desire not to appear heartless, they stayed. This internal conflict can go on for a long time, creating a painful psychological tug-of-war. So when they finally muster the courage to end it, the most dominant feeling they experience is freedom, like a bird released from a cage. They may seem cheerful, even joyful, not because they're heartless, but because they finally feel at peace after a prolonged period of emotional unrest. That said, the journey doesn't stop there. The next stage is when they begin mentally and emotionally cleaning up the remnants of the relationship. They might reflect briefly on the memories, feel a touch of sadness or regret, but they won't dwell on it for long. They don't invest excessive time in grieving. If they had been respectful and loving during the relationship and had spent a long time struggling with the decision to break up, that period likely already provided them with all the closure they needed. Often, women misinterpret this behavior. They may see their ex-partner being kind, still texting, or acting considerately and believe that he still has feelings. This misunderstanding leads many women to try harder, improving themselves, making gestures, or seeking reconnection, all in the hope that the man will come back. But in truth, his actions may simply be a reflection of his character, not his love. The third phase for men who have fallen out of love is the pursuit of someone new. This phase usually arrives quickly. Contrary to the common belief that women are more emotionally affected by breakups, many men begin dating again sooner. The reason lies partly in biology and partly in psychology. Men often find it difficult to cope with prolonged loneliness. The emotional void, coupled with physical needs, propels them toward new connections. While both men and women have similar levels of desire, men generally struggle more with resisting physical urges, making them more prone to entering new relationships soon after a breakup. If a woman discovers that her ex is already seeing someone new shortly after their breakup, it may be disheartening. However, it's important to understand that this behavior isn't necessarily a reflection of how he felt about the past relationship. It may simply be part of his natural coping mechanism, a way to fill the emotional and physical void. While these patterns are common, they're not set in stone. Human behavior can change. Mindsets can shift. A man who once seemed emotionally distant may rediscover feelings under the right circumstances. But change doesn't happen randomly. It requires understanding the emotional blueprint and applying the right strategies at the right time. If a woman still values the relationship, recognizes her own mistakes, and wants to reconnect, she must adopt an intentional approach, not out of desperation, but from clarity and self-respect. In conclusion, understanding the emotional patterns of men after a breakup, particularly when they have already fallen out of love, is essential for healing. Their initial relief, emotional detachment, and pursuit of new relationships do not necessarily mean cruelty. Often, it's just how their emotional logic plays out. With the right awareness and mindset, it's possible to navigate these emotional waters with grace, regardless of the outcome.